Welcome to your 30-minute ground to balance class. Today's class will be geared around grounding and focusing on the body parts that are touching the mat beneath us and really having intentional grip on the ground to feel that connection, to feel that, that energetic space in between, but also to feel rooted and to feel held by and supported. Once we flow through our grounding portion and have our seated meditation, we're going to move into more balancing postures, maybe some slight playful inversions, so then we can still feel that grounded connectedness, but also still be uplifted and raised from the ground, but still also feeling that connection. So for today's class, all you'll need is your bolster, your mat, and a quiet space, or maybe not quiet space to practice in. All right, so finding your comfortable seat, having whichever leg in front, and if seated is no good for you, you can also lay in a reclined position. It's completely up to you. I'm going to cue from a seated position, so yes, use your discretion. As in all of my classes, use your discretion, listen to your body. Softening through the breath, shaking it all out. And start to pay attention to the hands and the feet. The tighter we hold things in our hands, often the tighter we hold things in our minds. So we'll really work on softening through the hands here for the start of this practice. Lengthening through the breath. And we'll find some forceful exhales here as you inhale, guiding it all the way in, feeling the chest rise, the ribs expand, the belly expands. As you exhale, forceful exhale through the nose. So you can make it sound like you're grunting or growling or fogging a mirror. Keeping the mouth closed and forceful, let it go, constrict the throat through the nose. One more time, inhale deeply. Exhale firmly and fully. Coming back to your normal rhythm of breath. And starting to notice the palms of the hands, noticing the tingling, maybe a vibrating sensation of all the energy that is built and released through this point. Our touch is powerful. Maybe you invite that full sense of wonder, imagining visualization of all the energy seeping out of our hands, just waiting to connect with what's next. Feeling the heat build. And although we feel all this throughout our hands, we're not trying to tense or create constriction. We're just noticing and allowing the hands to fall open softly. And as we keep some awareness through the power of our hands, we start to notice any parts of the body that are touching the bolster or the mat below. And as you consciously start to create that list of all the parts that are touching, noticing that vibration, that energy throughout. And even though we're sitting on an inanimate object, that doesn't mean that we still can't feel the energy through it. The energy that the earth emits. other humans. And as that earth gives off that energy, we might be clouded by other materials, barricades, if you will. But energy cannot be destroyed. So it finds other outlets. It finds other ways to get to where it needs to be. It finds other ways to reach us. And so we might not feel this interconnectedness all the time down to a cellular level. But as we find time to ground, to take our shoes off, take our socks off, to really notice the ground beneath our feet. And whether we're bundled up, walking on concrete, whatever it might be, we can still have this sense of awareness, this feeling of being grounded. Beginning to notice the soles of the feet, that pulsating vibration, the energy throughout. Maybe with this energy comes warmth. You can wiggle the toes to allow them to soften even further into the mat. And although the soles of our feet aren't grounded onto the mat currently as we sit or we lay, we can still feel that energy, that desire for that connection leaving our feet. And we can still feel that earth's energy making its way to us, connecting us to where we are. So throughout our practice today, I would really like you to focus on that space between the hands and the mat, that space between the soles of the feet and the mat. And even as they leave the mat, keeping that energy with us, keeping that strength with us. Our base, our stability throughout any inverted postures. Keeping that connection with us. And finding just a few more breaths here. And as you inhale and exhale, feel that exchange of energy, that pulsating throughout the hands and the soles of the feet. It's almost like a tingling sensation. And as thoughts arise, as they will, no judgment, there's no right or wrong way, just bringing yourself back and not being hard on yourself for leaving that space. The idea of this practice is to be able to leave that space of grounding, that comfortability, and still be able to bring yourself back to it. Beginning to wiggle the fingers and the toes, rocking the head side to side. And And slowly coming back to center. Inhale, reaching the arms up, whether you're seated or reclined, just give yourself one nice long stretch. And if you are reclined, just coming up to a seated position. And as you are seated, we're going to switch the opposite foot that's in front. You can either stay on your bolster or remove the bolster from your seat. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. On the exhale, dropping those right fingertips, reaching that left arm up and over. So it's not about how far we bend into that right side. It's about how much we're reaching up through that left hand, grounding down through that left sit bone. From here, we're going to bend the elbow. Inhale, open up. Exhale, close it off. Bring that elbow to that right knee. Inhale, open. Keep that left hip grounded. Really feel rooted here, like you're glued to the mat. Exhale, twist. Crunch it in. Inhale it, open up, stretch it out. Keep that grounding. Notice that right hand. Maybe you plant that full palm. Really spread through the fingers. And exhale, crunch it in. One more time, open up. Reach that left arm one more time. Reach up and over to that right side. Exhale, come back through center, dropping that left hand down. So we'll start with our fingertips. Inhale, reaching that right arm up. So our left hip is glued. We've noticed that left glute is rooted. Now we're going to reach up and over towards that left side and ground down or glue down that right sit bone. Pulling tall here, pulling long through that right hand and all the way down into that right hip. Bending that elbow, plant that left hand, really ground down, spread those fingers wide. Inhale deeply, exhale, crunch that right elbow to left knee. Inhale, open it up, extend. Maybe you take the gaze to the ceiling. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, open, lift through the heart. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, open. Last time, as you notice that grounding, exhale, crunch it down. Inhale, come back up through center. We'll take both hands to the sides of the hips, lift up onto those fingertips, walk the fingertips behind us, lift through the chest, lift through the heart, pull down through the sit bones as you lift, lift, lift through the top of the head, through the chest. Roll those shoulders back. See if you can open up just a little bit further here. Wonderful. Slowly coming back to center. We're going to come into our tabletop. Bringing hands and wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Toes can be tucked or untucked, whatever you prefer. On the inhale, we're going to drop the belly, lift the top of the head, but really press through the hands here. Notice more of the hands and the knees, either the toes on the tops of the feet, and then slowly throughout the lower back, start to round, pressing into your cat pose. And really notice the knees, press the shins into the ground, press the hands, create a little bit more space here, opening it up, but keeping grounded. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the top of the head. Press everything away, but keep grounding here. Press through every finger, press through the bases, the palms, and exhale, round. Press away, but stay connected. Inhale, drop the belly, one more cycle. Exhale to round. Coming back into your neutral table. We're going to step the feet back, coming into our plank pose. So breathing here, spreading those fingers even wider than you started with. Spread wide, wide, wide. This is our base here. We're going to lower down, slow chaturanga. Eyes of the elbows point forwards, bend the elbows, bring them towards the ribs, lower down slowly, hover here, hold, press firmly through those hands, spread those fingers wide, drop to the mat, untuck the toes, inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, lower down, tuck toes under, send hips up and back, downward facing dog. Walk the hands out, keep those fingers spreading wide. Press firmly through the fingertips, through the bases of the hands. Spread them wide, wide, wide. Start to claw into the mat. So we're not bending anything, but we're keeping that strong base and we're keeping those active hands. Rolling the shoulders open. You can start to notice the feet. Spreading them wide, maybe shifting side to side, dropping one heel and then the other if it's available. Walking the feet up to meet the hands. Inhale, halfway lift, spread the toes wide, exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, keep those toes grounded, keep the insides of the soles grounded, ground down, press down through the feet, slowly press your way up. Inhale, hands to heart center, coming into your mountain pose. And shake it up. So from here, spreading those toes wide, dropping the big toes, starting to spread all the baby toes onto the mat. Engaging through the thighs, engaging through the glutes, protecting our knees. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge from the hips, fold. Keep those toes spreading. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, grab that left wrist, reach up and over right side. Inhale, back up through center. Grab right wrist, reach up and over left. Keep grounding through those feet. Inhale, back up through center. Exhale, hands to heart center. And we're just going to find a rotation through the wrists here. So we're going to be playing around with some inversions and we're going to be relying a lot on our hands and a lot on our wrists. So just starting to warm the wrists up. Send a little extra love and gratitude their way. And then shake it out. We'll bring the backs of the hands together. And then you can find some movement here, bringing the fingertips towards you and away from you. You can notice if maybe one wrist has a harder time bending as deeply as the other. No judgment, just noticing, just taking awareness, checking in with those toes. Spread those toes wide, keep them grounded, keep those legs active, keep those glutes active. And then release the hands. Whenever you're ready, shake them out. Inhale, reach up overhead. Exhale, hinge from the hips, fold. Walk the hands out, walk the feet out, come back into that plank pose. Hold here. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Ground down through the hands, press through the fingers. Stay strong through the hands here. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Keep those fingers spreading wide the whole time. Inhale, left leg rises. Bend the knee, open the hip. Keep the shoulders square. Exhale, left foot meets the right. Inhale, right leg rises, bend the knee, open the hip. Square off the shoulders. Spread those fingers wide, press down firmly through the palms. Come back to center. Walk the feet towards the hands. Bend the knees. Lift the hips, walk it back. Downward dog. Lift the heels, bend the knees, walk the feet forwards. Drop the hips down towards the heels, hold here. Lift the hips, walk it back, downward dog. One more time, walk it forwards. Come high onto those toes, bend the knees, drop the hips. Walk the hands back. This time we're going to come into our toe stand. Spread those toes wide. Feel grounded here, feel connected. Feel that energy rise. You can keep those fingertips down if that helps. Or you can start to extend the arms forwards. So, depends on you. Some people like to have their feet touching, heels touching. I prefer just a little bit less than hips distance. Spread those toes wide. And we're going to come up staying on our toes. So reaching the arms up, start to lift the hips. Lift, lift, lift. Engage those glutes. Lift, lift, lift. Drop the heels. Keep those toes spread and pressing into the mat. Inhale deeply on the exhale. Find a slight back bend. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Shake it out. All right, so we are going to start playing around with our inversions. So even though not all parts of us are touching the ground, We are very connected through our hands the whole time. Connected, 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 but energetically pushing away. That doesn't mean we're drawing everything back, but we're keeping everything there, but we're strong throughout. So, bringing the feet just a bit wider than hips width. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, bend the knees very firmly. Start to lower down. And if you know you like props for your crow pose, feel free to pause and grab now. Slowly bringing the hands down, spread those fingers wide, bring the hands all the way to the mat. Bringing our knees into our triceps. And you can just work here and just touching the knees to the triceps. If you are able to bring the knees to the triceps, you can work on just tipping forwards and back. The toes don't even need to leave. See if you can spread those toes wide, getting a wider base. See if you can spread those fingers even wider. And from here, slowly finding a little bit more of a hinge forwards, bringing more of our weight or our center of gravity over the hands. Find your breath. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you press, press, press into those hands just a little bit further. Press up and out of them. And then you can start to lift the feet. From here, you can start to bend through the index finger and the middle finger. It will help with your balance, but we're still keeping the fingers spread wide and we're still keeping focus on those palms and the wrists. Maybe you can tuck the heels in a little bit further. And if you ever fall out of it, just get right back into it. And then you can stay here and just prop the feet back, or you can hop those feet back, meeting in your downward facing dog. And breathe it out. You can stay playing in your crow pose for as long as you'd like, or taking a rest pose in your downward facing dog. We'll take a few more breaths. Spread those fingertips wide. Spread the toes wide. And then slowly, slowly starting to walk the hands back or the feet forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms up overhead. Exhale, shake it out. Okay, so we're gonna alternate back and forth. We're gonna do some inversion style things, very mild. If you have more in your practice, feel free to do more, but we are gonna focus on some balancing practices as well. So coming into our warrior three. Standing at the top of the mat. Spread those toes wide, shake out the legs. Spread those toes wide. Press down through the feet as you energetically rise up through the remainder of the body. Feeling tall here. Hands can be at heart center. And we're just gonna start to hinge from the hips without the feet leaving the mat. So just hinging, feeling the energy start to pull from the backs of the legs, but we're staying strong and we're not letting those toes come together. Slowly start to hinge back. Hinge forwards. And come back up. So this time, we're gonna lift onto our left toes. And we're still coming into that hinging motion. We're keeping that right foot spread wide, feeling that grounding, that connection. Start to hinge forwards through the hips. And then you can stay here and you can start to pick up those left toes and just bend the heel into the glute. You can stay here, kind of like an awkward flamingo pose. And you can drop it down, just bring the left toes down, come back up. Then we'll find that hinge again through the hips. Pick up those toes, stay here if you'd like, or start to really press back through the heel like you're kicking something away from you. Press back through the heel, kick, kick, kick. Start to extend that left leg. Beautiful. That right leg is strong. Find that drishti or that focal point. Spread those toes. Spread the toes. Beautiful. Inhale, come up. We're going to keep that left leg lifted. Keep that left foot lifted. Bring the knee forwards. Take a deep breath. And slowly on the exhale, starting to kick back. Spread those toes as wide as you can, even though it might not feel like you're spreading them at all. Kick back through that heel. Start to hinge forward through those hips. Come back into your warrior three. Hands can stay at heart center. Or if you feel confident and comfortable, bring the hands to the sides, palms face down. Spread those right toes. Draw up. Feel strong through that right leg. Feel that connectedness through that left foot, even though it's not on the mat. Everything is connected within us. One more breath. Inhale, slowly come up. Drop the left foot, shake it out. Wonderful. Taking the legs wide, coming into the long edge of the mat. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, slightly bend the knees, fold, coming into your wide-legged fold. Rock side to side, release through the hips here. And slowly coming back, placing the fingertips in front of you. Walk or hop those feet in. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands start center. Finding the front of the mat. Spreading those toes wide. Grounding down through the feet. Finding that hinge from the hips. So forward hinge through the hips. Ground down through the feet. Keep those legs strong. Don't let the knees knock in. We want to keep that energetic pull from the outsides of the thighs. Inhale, slowly come up. Exhale, slowly bend, fold. Inhale, slowly come up. This time we are going to come onto those right toes. Keep that left foot strong, keep those toes wide, start to hinge from the hips. Staying here, keep those toes on the mat. Slowly lift up. This time we're gonna lift the toes, so hinge from the hips. Breathing, picking up those toes, bringing the heel into the glute, coming into that awkward flamingo pose. Bring the toes back down, bring the hips back up. And this time we're going to extend it back. So hinging from the hips. Once you feel comfortable and stable, spread those left toes, grip the mat, start to pick up the right foot. And then whenever you're ready, kicking back through the heel, spread the toes wide, spread, 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 kick back through the heel, come into your warrior three. You can keep the hands on the hips, or you can bring them back into that prayer position, or extend them overhead. Breathing. Slowly come back up, bring that right knee up in front. Inhale deeply on the exhale, kick back through that heel, hinge from the hips. Coming back into that warrior three or Virabhadrasana 3. And again, you can keep the hands where they're at, or you can start to guide them to the sides, palms face down, feeling that strength from the palms. You can be like Iron Man here. Feeling that strength through that right foot, and especially through that left. Inhale, slowly come up. Drop that right foot, shake it out. All right, so our next pose is going to be flying pigeon. So it's definitely harder inversion, but if this is something you practice regularly, it might feel easy, or if you have very open hips, it might feel easier for you too. So we're gonna come back into our standing, spreading our toes wide. We're gonna pick up that left leg this time, give it a break. Come onto those toes, bring the knee up, and this time we're gonna open the knee to the left side. I'll turn the other way. We're gonna open the knee to the left side, and we're gonna bring the top of the ankle, so just over the bone, onto the right thigh. Find your grounding here. So what helps me is I sit my butt back and I hold my hands in front, kind of like a steering wheel. So I'm grounded, I'm connected with the road. Every bump and sway I feel, but I don't let it overtake me. And I can sit back a little bit lower possibly. I can dance a little bit, finding that focal point. And then we're gonna bring the elbows to the front of that left shin. Breathing here. From here, if it's available, and only if it's available, we'll bring the hands down, grounded, spread fingers wide, connect the top of that left foot to the outside of that right tricep, press that left tricep towards that knee, breathing deeply. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you can start to shift the weight just like in your crow pose and pick up that right leg. You can start to bend through that index finger, through that middle finger. And then whenever you're ready, you can start to extend that right leg. Maybe it falls to the mat, and that's okay. Start to pull yourself back up. Breathe. And whenever you're ready, coming safely onto that right foot and tucking the left leg. Shake it out, breathe it out. Release here, and you can keep playing around. The beauty of an at-home workout is you can pause it, play for as long as you want, but for the sake of time, we're going to switch to our opposite side. So grounding down through our left foot, spreading those toes wide, really connecting through the mat, bringing those right toes to the ground, lifting the knee, open it up, bring that right ankle, or the top of the right ankle, to that left thigh. Find your seat, find your steering wheel if that helped. Send those hips back. That's how you're gonna get lower. You gotta send those hips back. Send those hips back and find that counterweight. Spread those left toes wide. That's your base right now. And then if it's available, bringing the elbows to that right shin or the triceps. And then slowly bringing the hands down. From here, you'll start to lock that right foot with that left tricep. Press up and out of the hands. Try to feel light on the triceps on that right knee. And then slowly, maybe you can pick up that left foot. Bend into those index fingers, into those middle fingers. Kick back that left leg. Maybe it falls. And maybe you just work on building it up. Drop it back, meeting child's pose. Breathe it out. Start to pulse through the hands. Noticing all parts of the body that are touching the mat below. Feeling that connection. And slowly coming back to tabletop. Guiding the knees back in. We'll tuck toes under, come into a quick downward dog. Just open up that chest, shift through those legs. Any other postures that you're craving before we say goodbye for today? Bending the knees, look towards the hands, finding a comfortable seat. From here, I'll find Garudasana or Eagle Arms. So bringing our left elbow onto the right bicep, You can stay here bringing the backs of the hands together, or you can find the fingertips to that left palm, guiding the hands away from your face and the elbows up and out of the seat. So we should come into almost a 90 here. Two more deep breaths. And release. Switch sides, bringing that right elbow onto that left bicep, backs of the hands together, or bringing those left fingertips to the inside of that right palm. Pulling up and out, find that 90-degree bend through the arms. One more breath. Coming back to center, rolling the shoulders back. And shake it up. Staying here for as long as you'd like. Coming back to that sensation, that vibration, that pulsation. Feeling connected to the earth, connected to what's beneath us, to our surroundings, to ourselves. Finding that sweet balance between grounding and play and movement. In honor of the love, light, and respect we share for each other. Namaste.